Tēnā koutou, my name's Angaru Marshall and I'm the CEO of Wise Better Homes. I first became involved with Wise back in 2008, and at that time they were already doing some fantastic things in the community. The story of Wise is a unique story. It's about the right people becoming involved in the organisation at the right time. With them, they had some very special qualities which has enabled us to achieve these two fantastic milestones of having insulated 10,000 homes and creating 300 jobs. This is a story about people, about relationships, and most of all, it's about achievement. So I'd like you to sit back and enjoy this story being told to you by the people who were there and who actually made it happen.
From a perspective of creating work and a perspective of helping the most vulnerable people in the community, this has been an ideal example of community enterprise, which now has existed for many, many years. So I think it's a success story in itself, and I congratulate those people who have been involved in this over the number of years that it has been running. It's a credit to the work that they've put in, many involuntary hours, particularly around those trustees that are present and the past.
So 2003 was a particularly, and that's when the partnership started to come together, was a particularly enabling time across the health, local government and central government sectors. It was no longer about fixing illness, it was about creating wellness so people could contribute as well as they could in society. The council as well had at that time received a new power of what we call the power of wellbeing, where the councils were charged with looking after the social, cultural, economic and environmental wellbeing of their communities. So this enabled people like myself, who was employed at the council at the time, to actually go out and form these partnerships with a number of agencies like the PHOs and health and economic providers, etc., to think, okay, how do we contribute to a district and a region that is as well and as fit and as happy and as healthy as possible. Prior to then, 2001, 2000, Elaine Gill and Clive Prime had already initiated a small-scale project in Waitara, so the model existed there, and there was support from the council because Elaine Gill was a councillor at that time.
So it started off as an initiative from the Waitara Community Trust with assistance from the predecessor of Work and Income. It was situated in the old council depot, the Waitara Borough Council depot, and one of the innovations that we looked at was a scheme in Whakatane which was retrofitting houses. We set about trying to put that scheme into the Employment Initiative scheme in Waitara. We called it Better Homes, and we eventually got the government department, which had been set up to look at retrofitting, to come to the party and provide funding for Better Homes. And then, because we were one of the first to work in this particular area, we then became a show pony for medical research, looking at the effects of retrofitting on people's health. And that was Philippa Chapman.
I worked with the World Health Organization. I chair the Housing and Health Guidelines Committees, and part of the work on how we can make sure the homes are warm enough is actually based primarily on our work. So it's informing what standards will be around the world. It's informed the work of the International Energy Agency. So it has a lot of credibility. I think Wise Better Homes is part of the future on thinking about an economy that's based on maintaining and improving infrastructure, and I think housing is a critical part of our infrastructure. Most people spend between 75% or 90% of their time inside. Children and older people who spend most of their time inside. So if we're wanting to improve the well-being of the population, we're wanting to improve the health of the population, we should be thinking about housing as core infrastructure, and maintaining and improving that is right at the space where Better Homes is.
It was the first project to insulate 100 homes in Waitara, and that was in 2000. So that was before I joined the Trust, but that was the first really project of any scale, I think. That would be the biggest project that had run in the country at that point in time. And that was 100% funded by the Taranaki Electricity Trust.
It could have been our first foray into social sort of grant funding, and so I attended on Bill's behalf a meeting in Waitara. Elaine Gill and a few others were there, and the concept was put in front of us. I suppose I came back with a pretty strong recommendation to our trust that this is something that we probably should get ourselves involved with. But I guess it was almost like it was a one-show pony, really. We thought, oh well, it'll just warm up their houses and provide a bit of employment. Well, of course, the employment thing became quite significant in terms of Waitara, and Waitara at the time, in terms of our trust, had probably not really received as much as they maybe could have or should have. So this was one way of really getting involved in the early stages of that employment initiative. And once you get success stories like that, then it's human nature that the trustees want to get on the bandwagon even more. And so we've continued to support WISE right up to this very day, really. And normally it's circa 100,000, sometimes it's a bit more per annum. And we're delighted to see that the government came in a bit later, of course, with the ECCA schemes.
So the government recognised that a lot of the houses in New Zealand were poorly insulated, and that caused significant health issues. A report was done a few years ago that indicated that to insulate a house there was a $7 return for every dollar invested for low-income people, and on average about a $5 return on every dollar invested. So the government invested in that mainly to stop people walking in the front door of the hospitals. In Taranaki, the great benefit of having our program and using WISE in that region is that we've now insulated over 10,000 homes. That means that somewhere near 40,000 people are living in better conditions than they were 5-6 years ago, and as a consequence, everybody's happier, they're going to work more often, their kids are going to school more often, and our communities are a lot more healthier.
Waitara really has been the most successful freezing works town that's lost its freezing works but still managed to maintain its community, and that is down to people like Clive and the work that he did through the Waitara Community Trust.
Current Councillor Craig McFarlane and I had identified papers that Ed had done during his varsity training, I suppose, and we thought, how can we get hold of this particular black person? We needed someone to actually run that and push it. So we managed to get identify funding for a full year, and we contracted Ed to do that, and at the end of the year we recontracted him. So it's largely through his drive and direction, and of course some very good volunteers you have on your trust committee that kept it going.
What I wasn't prepared for is my personal aversion to failure. When faced with the reality, I really didn't want to manage something that fell over, and so it was a very challenging thing for me in a sense, and so I really put my heart and soul into making it work.
Oh look, I'm proud. I'm proud of what they've done, and I'm hoping all feel incredibly proud too. We knew we had a really good partnership opportunity with the council. As far as we were concerned, the VHB should be involved. ACC was already there or roundabout, and because of the employment opportunities, MSD was also involved. So there was already sort of a tight-knit group, and really it was actually that group coming together, having the conversations that then started to talk about other potential funders.
And the relationship that we've had with WISE has been fantastic. We meet on a regular basis, and we're aware of what they're doing and where they're going, what they're wanting to achieve, and they've actually expanded into quite a few different areas since we've been funding them as well, not just the healthy homes but also into the housing more into fitness, which is a new area that they're starting to look at that we're really interested in as well. So a lot of what they do directly correlates with what we want to achieve with our community, and it's fantastic to see them have achieved all that they have.
Part of the reason why we went with WISE Better Homes was because they had such a good reputation. We looked into it, people knew of them throughout New Zealand, people said they did a great job, and so that was, for us to partner with a group that's so far out of town, at the other end of the island almost, was huge really, because normally we would negotiate with or cooperate with local suppliers, but in this case, I think it's about the only case where we've got a supplier from so far away. Trustees were happy and it's worked really well. So I think it's a great achievement, and we feel really privileged to be part of the association with WISE.
Yep, no, congratulations. I think it's a wonderful effort, great team effort really, good people working well together, and of course we wish you all the very, very best for the future, because we know that people in our community and other communities throughout New Zealand are going to gain immensely from this particular program.
I think we have to start thinking about health as being having determinants that are beyond our front door. So we need to be working with schools, we need to be working with insulation providers, we need to be working with charities like WRIGHT to make sure that people have got beds and blankets. So an example of stuff that would happen for us is we have nurses in schools and they're seeing kids with sore throats and skin infections that aren't getting treated elsewhere. If they meet our criteria, they'll go into the housing space as well for us, and then we'll do some work around their homes and how things are working out for them. And then at that point we would be calling you guys to be coming in and getting their houses sorted and a bit warmer and drier. That means we're not going to see them as much in the health space, and hopefully they'll do better in their education as well. It's a bit more global than we're used to working.
OMV, for me, it just sticks in my head because we had some interesting conversations with them, because we had to convince them as a European business out of Austria, I think they're Austrian, that New Zealand had what they considered to be third world housing when they considered New Zealand to be a first world country. So we had some, and to be fair, I found it challenging for me, being a New Zealander, trying to convince an overseas company that actually our housing was so poor, that it would be something they should invest in to try to improve it.
And I see one of their new streams of businesses in the health and safety area, and I wish them well with that, and we'd like to see our partnership continue given the number of jobs they've created and the lives they've impacted positively.
So for us it's really important to be engaging with our local community and to be supporting our local community, and WISE have been a really important part of that partnership, and it makes me quite proud actually to think that our safety culture is going out into the wider community, and I'm sure WISE feel the same way.
We've actually expanded into quite a few different areas since we've been funding them as well, not just the healthy homes but also into the housing warrant fitness, which is a new area that they're starting to look at that we're really interested in as well, because the trust moving forward has got to focus on child and youth wellbeing, and to have a healthy child they need to be in a healthy home.
At WISE Better Homes, they've always looked to progress their employees from wherever they started. You see a lot of the guys will start out as installers and then they'll work their ways up to being a team leader, which is being more involved with the clients and taking more responsibilities, and then from there you can go up further, like to what I'm doing now, which is auditing and assessing. So the good thing about WISE Better Homes is that with the skills they give you, they like to see you progress and further up the ranks through the organisation, or at the same time they're equally as happy to see you use it as a stepping stone and use all the skills you've learnt and progress, kind of like a proud mum and dad really. Yeah.
I'd like to say grateful for all the opportunities, the qualifications and the time that WISE has been able to supply me. So it's been a good couple of years for employment. I've been able to get a job working on a bigger oil and gas site through the induction that I've had out here. They can see that I've got site experience, so it's quite a good thing to have.
I've worked here at WISE for 12 years and during that time it has had a snowball effect, that we started off with just low income homes, and when the Warm Up New Zealand program came in, that opened up subsidies for everybody, not just low income, so that increased work available to do, employment opportunities.
It was really nice to have them come right round the house and say, well, it would be better if you had this done here, or that needs a rail. You can walk down those steps, and so I was really pleased with the way that they surveyed the place and suggested what would be an improvement around the outside. And there were 4 places where I've got nice new strips on the steps, thank you. I really did need a rail, and that's what they put round my front step and out here at the side, plus the strips on the steps to see, especially at night, if you're out at night, to have those reflections there really showed you where you needed to put your feet. I'm really happy to have that done.
I've actually got asthma, so one of the main reasons that this had to be done, and for me the breathing and everything has got better already, so really pleased.
Yeah, we would recommend wires better homes to anybody. That is not a problem at all.
I do have allergy problems, both myself and my partner. I've noticed that they haven't been as bad. In fact, I even open the windows in the winter sometimes to let the heat out. It's so good, which is great because that means I'll be buying less firewood. When they came here, you know, they were very polite and spoke to me and explained everything to me, and you know, I was happy. I was more than happy. In fact, I was so happy I recommended the service to my neighbour, and they got the job done there too, and they were very happy with the service.
I remember years and years ago reading an article on the true essentials of happiness, and that is something to do, someone to love, and something to hope for. Well, we may not be able to provide somebody to love, but we can certainly provide something to do and something to hope for.
Marama. We mustn't forget Marama's role in this. Marama was the initial manager of the Employment Initiative Scheme, and she was the wife of a pastor at a White Church, and very dedicated to the work that she did to get people into work. But her husband got sent to Northland, and she had to go naturally, so that's when Ed came on the scene. Unfortunately, she died of cancer shortly after moving, so but we mustn't forget that she was very important at the outset of this, and how much work that she took on to make sure that this scheme works. And it's, you know, it's a real milestone that we're celebrating with this particular video. I don't think we could these days set up another Better Homes. I just think it would be just impossible, and yet to me the need is still out there for schemes such as this. It's not just 10,000 houses, it's 10,000 families that have had their health improved due to this scheme.
So there you have it, the story of WISE, a small trust from a small town that aspired to do great things. There's an old saying that no man is an island, and that applies to community organisations as well. You just can't do this on your own. You need support, you need friends, but most of all you need great people around you. And I hope that you've seen in this video that WISE has had an abundance of all of those things. And that set us up for a great future, because we want to create more jobs, provide more training and development. We want to expand the work that we're doing in the health and safety areas. But most of all, we want to maintain those high standards that we've set for ourselves. So personally, I'd like to thank you all. Every individual and every organisation that has contributed to this amazing journey that we've been on. And I hope that somehow you can see that our success has been your success. I thank you all. Nō reira, kia koutou mā. Koutou mā e tautoko ana ki te kaupapa nei. Tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou tātou.
we'd like to extend our heartiest congratulations to the Better Homes team.
Yep, no, congratulations. I think it's a wonderful effort.
So congratulations guys, well done, and keep up the great work. Thank you.
I think it's a great thing to celebrate the history that this organisation has in our community.
Delivering 10,000 homes for Taranaki. Well done.
And Anna will just need white back.
That's for the bloopers. Thank you for that. No, well done, good work, and I'll put my name down for my house to be insulated.
Haven't got my lunch all down my t-shirt or anything.
Deliver a post.
Oh, how funny. Oh.
So there you have it, the story of WISE. Oh.